And now to another fishy story. This one is from Japan, and it's literally fishy. It involves a black rockfish caught on the 18th of May. Why is this fish making headlines? Because it contains a radioactive material called cesium, and a lot of it, 180 times the safety limit, 180 times. And where was it caught? Near the drainage outlets of the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant, the one that was damaged due to an earthquake and tsunami in 2011, the one making news for radioactive water. This power plant has millions of tons of radioactive water. Japan is set to release it into the sea, and countries in the neighborhood are protesting. The fishing community in Japan is also protesting, and now this radioactive fish has triggered more fears. Here's a report.
On March 11, 2011, a devastating earthquake took place off Japan's eastern coast. It was the most powerful earthquake ever recorded in Japan. It lasted for 6 minutes and caused a tsunami. And the waves of both the quake and the tsunami hit this place. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant. The result was the worst nuclear disaster since Chernobyl. There were 3 nuclear reactor meltdowns. There were hydrogen explosions. The tsunami's waters flooded the reactors. It got contaminated with radioactive material, and the waters then swept this material into the Pacific Ocean. Why are we talking about the past? It's because the effects of the disaster are not a thing of the past. Even today, the Fukushima disaster makes itself felt, especially in the marine life near the nuclear plant. When the tsunami's water receded, it took some radioactive material from the plant along with it. Among other things, cesium-137 entered the Pacific Ocean. It's a radioactive byproduct of nuclear power generation. And like all radioactive material, it has the potential to cause cancer and other life-threatening ailments. In normal circumstances, radioactive waste like cesium-137 is stored securely, so that it cannot contaminate the environment. But the tsunami wrecked that plan. The cesium spilled into the ocean. Since then, it has been contaminating the local marine life. 12 years later, we still get reports of rockfish found with 180 times the Japanese government's legal limit of cesium. What's the maximum allowed limit? 100 becquerels per kg. Radioactivity is measured in the unit becquerels. 100 becquerels per kg is the legal limit in Japan. And the fish found in May contained 18,000 becquerels per kg. Between May 2022 and May 2023, 44 fish with cesium exceeding the legal limit have been found. Japan has been struggling to deal with this problem. In February 2022, black rockfish shipments from Fukushima were suspended. That's after a highly contaminated fish had been found in January that year. The shipments have not resumed yet. So you see how the Fukushima disaster has had long-term consequences on safety and economic activity even over a decade later. Now, the 2011 disaster was an accident. Japan did not mean to release radioactive material into the ocean then, but it wants to intentionally do so now. Because over the years it has been collecting nuclear wastewater. That's water used to cool the nuclear reactors. It has been accumulating for years, and Japan wants to release it into the Pacific Ocean. This water has been treated. Most of the extremely dangerous radioactive particles have been removed, but it still contains traces of tritium. That's a radioactive form of hydrogen. There reportedly won't be too much tritium in the wastewater, but it will definitely be there. So Japan's neighboring countries have opposed the idea. They're worried about the possible side effect. Now Japan says it's safe. And Tokyo does have the go-ahead from the global nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency.
Well, the transboundaryness, if the word exists in English, the transboundary nature must be addressed. Our opinion is that given the degree, the dilution degree and the dispersion, it could be the case that there is no transboundary effect at all.
But the IAEA chief did understand why Japan's neighbors like China and South Korea were protesting.
Given the extremely low levels of the radioisotopes, the radionuclides, that I mentioned, the dispersion might be almost complete or indiscernible within a few miles from the coast. So perhaps no transboundary effect. Potentially there is one, so this is why these countries want to have the guarantee.
And he says that perhaps there will be no transboundary effect. It's not a guarantee. It's more like an experiment. Japan can just hope for the best and rely on stringent testing in the future. But once the wastewater is released, the damage will have been done. And the consequences are likely to be felt even decades later.